itself about the disadvantage of the girl child. And we also know that children who come from poor families are at a disadvantage. I come from such a background. Until one of us, my brother, was educated, we were all destined to stay in the rural areas. We broke the poverty cycle because we got access and it was equitable. How do we ensure that on a bigger scale across the country, across the continent?
Access to education.
Equitable.
Equitable.
Yeah.
We have first what we call radical inclusion. Radical inclusion. It's a policy by our government. And that means that irrespective of your situation, if you are a child in Sierra Leone, you should go to school. Wherever you are, whether you are disabled, in whatever state, no political colors come into play, everybody should go to school. This is radical inclusion. Before this time, there was a ban against pregnant girls going to school in Sierra Leone. And I was in favor of that, you know, that is because of my old mindset. But when I realized that it is secondary victimization of these little kids who become pregnant going to school in their formative years, and then you take them out of school and punish them, and they become a liability to themselves, their community, and so on and so forth. I thought that was too much. And I knew I was wrong. So I made a U-turn. Now, girls who become pregnant, we attend on to the point that they can no longer stay in school. And once they give birth, we make sure they go back to school. And interestingly, they have been performing extremely well because they realize they have made the mistakes. And most times, the mistakes are done with adults, people who are supposed to know better. But we blame the child, we blame somebody in 13, 14, 15 years old, you know, and we want her to carry that blame or sin for the rest of our life. I think that is... So one of the things we have done is to make sure that whether you are in the village, you can access education. And we are building the necessary digital infrastructure. We have trained more teachers for quality, and also to make sure that they can go as fast as they can to be able to give the quality of education. Because what we have to do in Africa also is not just education. It must be fit for purpose education. Education that we meet the needs of the future, a digital economy. That is what we are entering. So the things we have done as when we were in school, which we are forcing our children to do, are no longer good for them. So we must look at the future and make sure that our children are acquiring the skills that will make them relevant for the future, not what we did. And that is what most of us as parents do. I did law, I want you to do law. I did medicine, you have to do medicine. No. I think you have to discuss with them. And what have we done? The youth who are going out, 30%, 33% of my cabinet are young people. When I say young people, they are youth. 33% of them are also women. I've also passed an act which is, we call the GIWI Act, which makes sure that 30% of all parliamentarians must be women. 30% of all ministers should be women. And I just appointed my cabinet, and I made sure I complied to that because I passed that bill. And in the corporate world and in other fields of endeavor, we are making sure that nothing less than 30% for now, because this is the very first time we are taking this bold action. Yeah. They are women right across Sierra Leone. That is the beginning of making sure that the women feel part of us and they can contribute. After all, their population, they are more than 50% of our population.
100%.
So it's like trying to do boxing with one hand behind you. Even a lazy man like me can fight any boxer with one hand behind him.
Absolutely. You're going to lose. You can't do it with one hand. Your Excellency, thank you very much for those thoughts. Thank you. Thank you. And it's interesting. It sounds like, again, you were listening to the youth that were attending this seminar that I told you about. One of the things they said, you know, children speak sometimes a little too forcefully. So they said, we demand that there must be a quota for young people in every cabinet in Africa. And I see that you have already started that work on your front. Thank you very much. Let's please allow me to invite Her Excellency Mariam Chabi Talata, Vice President, Republic of Benin. Again, ma'am, I'd like to invite you to share your thoughts on the summit and the work that we are doing, or that we need to do. I think that's the more important part, what we really need to do, before I invite you to answer my very specific question for your country. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup. Je commence par présenter mes remerciements à Madame la Présidente de la République unie de Tanzanie pour l'accueil, l'hospitalité. Je présente mes hommages aux chefs d'État et de gouvernement ici présents. Je salue les vice-présidents et les premiers ministres ici présents. Le thème qui nous unit ici est le suivant. Sommes-nous vraiment prêts à investir dans le capital humain? Moi, je viens d'un petit pays. Géographiquement parlant, c'est la République du Bénin. Nous sommes tellement petits que pour nous rendre visibles, nous nous appuyons sur le géant qui est à côté de nous. Chaque fois que je rencontre quelqu'un qui ne connaît pas bien la région ouest africaine, qu'il me demande d'où je viens, je suis obligée de dire « je viens d'un pays qui est à côté du Nigeria ». Vous voyez? Et ce pays, tout petit géographiquement parlant, rien que ce n'est que 112 000 km². Ce pays a de grandes ambitions. C'est un pays qui, depuis 2016, rêve de se révéler au monde. Mais comment se révéler au monde quand on n'a que 112 000 km²? Quand on n'a pas de ressources minières, comme le Congo, comme certains États qui rendent visible ou qui forcent la visibilité. Nous, au niveau de notre pays, le Bénin, nous ne sommes pas seulement prêts à investir dans le capital humain, nous sommes condamnés à investir dans ce capital pour nous rendre visibles. Parce qu'autrement, nous disparaissons. Et comment nous investissons? Comment nous faisons des efforts pour qu'au niveau de ce capital humain, notre pays soit visible? Nous avons été colonisés par les Français. Et au niveau de notre pays, le Bénin, c'est l'enseignement général qui l'emporte sur l'enseignement technique et professionnel. Cela veut dire quoi? Que pendant 6 décennies, au niveau de notre pays, nos jeunes ont été formés pour de longues études qui ne donnent pas droit à l'emploi. Et notre pays, le Bénin, pour aller de l'avant depuis 2016, a fait le choix de réformer son système éducatif, de faire en sorte que les tendances s'inversent. Par le passé, 70% de notre population scolaire se retrouvait dans l'enseignement secondaire général. Nous travaillons cette fois-ci à inverser les tendances, à faire en sorte que 70% se retrouvent dans l'enseignement technique et professionnel. Mais en faisant quoi? En prenant un certain nombre de mesures. Les Béninois sont connus pour leur engouement pour les études, leur engouement pour les longues études, parce qu'on croit que c'est ça qui fait l'homme. Quand tu ne vas pas très loin dans les études, tu n'es pas considéré. Alors que maintenant, nous avons constaté qu'on peut aller très loin dans les études et rester chômeur toute la vie. nous travaillons à y mettre un terme en faisant en sorte qu'il y ait de la qualité dans l'enseignement que l'on donne. C'est la raison pour laquelle nos premières actions en 2016 ont été d'arrêter les créations anarchiques d'écoles et de collèges. Les villages réclament des écoles, même s'il n'y a que peu de gens pour y aller. Les villes réclament des collèges. Depuis 2016, nous avons suspendu cet élan-là, parce que ça ne mène nulle part. Parce que pendant que l'on réclame la construction d'écoles, la création d'écoles, nous manquons d'enseignants qualifiés. Nous manquons d'enseignants qualifiés. Nous n'acceptons plus qu'on ouvre d'écoles que lorsqu'on a la garantie que ces écoles seront animées par des enseignants de qualité. S'il n'y a pas d'enseignants de qualité, pas d'ouverture d'école. C'est la politique que nous mettons en œuvre depuis 2016. Et nous avons procédé à quoi? À l'évaluation systématique des enseignants qui animent, qui donnent les cours dans nos écoles et nos établissements du secondaire. Le problème de la qualité du capital humain dépend souvent des enseignements qu'on donne à ceux que l'on forme. Chaque élève est à l'image de son enseignant. Ça n'a pas été facile. La lutte pour la qualité n'a pas été facile. L'évaluation n'a pas été facilement acceptée par nos enseignants. Il y en a même qui ont résisté, qui ont refusé de se faire évaluer, qui ont été radiés parce qu'ils ont refusé de se faire évaluer. Si c'est le prix à payer, il fallait le payer. Tout récemment, il y a eu des pourparlers qui ont permis donc de réinsérer certains. Mais il fallait évaluer chaque enseignant. Et ceux qui n'ont pas les compétences requises au niveau des enseignants ont été soumis à des formations. Ils ont subi des formations pour être à même de dispenser des cours de qualité. J'ai dit que nous autres, nous sommes condamnés à investir sur le capital humain. Pourquoi? Parce que tous les 25 ans, notre population double. Si elle double, nous devons tout faire pour qu'elle soit de qualité. Notre ambition, qui est celle de nous révéler au monde, ne peut pas voir le jour si nous n'avons pas un, comment je vais dire, un personnel qualifié. Et c'est la raison pour laquelle nous avons, au niveau de notre pays, travaillé à créer un grand nombre de lycées techniques, un grand nombre de centres de formation professionnelle. Nous avons envoyé en formation ceux qui vont animer ces centres de formation de façon à ce que, à leur retour, ils puissent intégrer ces écoles-là. Nous avons, au niveau de notre pays, conscience du fait que un adulte équilibré demain, c'est un adulte qui a eu une vie saine pendant son enfance. Et notre gouvernement investit énormément dans les cantines scolaires. L'année dernière, j'ai représenté le chef de l'État, le président Patrice Talon, en Italie. Parce que notre pays, le Bénin, a été désigné champion mondial de l'alimentation scolaire. 75% de nos écoles ont une cantine scolaire. Notre ambition, c'est de faire en sorte que tous les villages, toutes les villes plutôt, aient des cantines. Aujourd'hui, nous avons couvert la plupart de nos villages en cantine scolaire. Il ne nous reste que les villes. Voilà.
That's great work. That's great work. That's great work, Your Excellency. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Very interesting how you have dealt with the issue of teachers. I live in South Africa, and we have a very strong trade union, and the issue around trying to make sure teachers are competent and they are assessed and they do their job consistently. It's certainly been a very thorny one. Great lesson. Hopefully they can take that lesson as well. Before I let you go, one more quick comment, very quickly if you can. Have you had to deal with the problem of higher dropout rates for school children, especially amongst girls? I want to know how you have dealt with that one. dropout rates amongst the children that you get into school. You explained that you have a problem of overcapacity,
Oui.
but I imagine even in that overcapacity, you still have other children that don't come to school when they are supposed to come to school.
S'agissant de l'abandon, de la déperdition scolaire, surtout la déperdition des filles, nous mettons en œuvre une gamme variée d'activités. Nous savons que certaines filles abandonnent les écoles, la scolarité, parce qu'elles n'arrivent pas à trouver les conditions adéquates d'hygiène au niveau de l'école. Depuis 2020, la première dame de notre pays, à travers la Fondation Claudine Talon, met en œuvre un programme de distribution de couches aux filles pour limiter les taux d'abandon. Nous sommes aidés par l'UNICEF qui, depuis des décennies, accompagne notre gouvernement en mettant à la disposition de nos filles des kits scolaires composés de livres, de manuels, de cahiers et d'un petit budget pour les charges diverses de l'école. Nous sommes également appuyés tout récemment par la Banque mondiale qui nous aide à mettre à la disposition des filles scolarisées du primaire et du secondaire un fonds. 30 000 filles sont impactées par ce fonds. Les filles du primaire reçoivent par jour 350 francs CFA et les filles du secondaire 450 francs CFA pour les accompagner dans leur scolarité. Ce sont là les actions que nous menons au niveau donc des populations scolaires féminines pour limiter les taux de déperdition. Mais ce n'est pas tout. Depuis 1990 au Bénin, les filles du primaire et du secondaire ne payent pas la scolarité. La scolarité est totalement gratuite dans notre pays.
Just girls? Just girls?
Oui, pour
Just
les
the
filles.
girls?
Oui, pour le moment.
Okay, boys
on va
pay,
atteindre les
girls
hommes
don't pay.
après. Oui,
Fantastic.
voilà. Depuis 90.
Positive discrimination. Positive discrimination. Your Excellency, thank you very much for your contribution. May I invite His Excellency 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕 Dlamini, Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Eswatini. Again, Your Excellency, it's your opening thoughts. If you're able to bunch them together tightly and we get the message across, and then I'll come to you with my very specific question, especially made for you.
Special meant for me?
Yes, sir. It's coming.
Thank you. Let me take this opportunity to thank the government of the United Republic of Tanzania, and in particular to thank President Samia Hassan for the excellent arrangement which they've put into this for those who have arrived just today, I have to say they missed a lot because of what we saw at the dinner yesterday. I see President 𝒂𝒂𝒊𝒂 is regretting. We had magicians literally dancing, I don't know what to say, standing on their head, on top of another head. It was marvelous. But now coming to the subject matter before us here, I think it has already been said that it's not a question of whether you want to invest in education or whether you are ready. You have to invest in education, especially if you are in African state. If you look at the proportion of youth relative to the entire population, you can say that if you did anything other than invest in education, you'd be playing with fire. Today we learned that there is a difference between the number of years that you spend at school and the actual education that you get. You can have 10 years of schooling, but 6 years of effective education. And that was quite enlightening. I've always thought about it, but I've always known that rural schools perform poorly compared to urban schools. And I mean, and this is because of the effective years of education. Rural schools are short of, they have certain disadvantages. They may not have computers, they may not have libraries and laboratories, basics like electricity and water, which we take for granted in towns, but they are short in rural areas. You could talk about this teacher-student ratio, but if you don't have these facilities, it means nothing. The figures will just be deceiving you. In Eswatini, we have made very major strides in as far as investment in education is concerned. In our National Development Plan, education, that's 2023-27, education is one of the major pillars of this plan. We want to foster social and human capital development and nature skills base able to adopt innovative technology. A lot has been said about the fact that today it is technology, not just education that is matters. Eswatini was amongst the first countries to be a member of the World Bank Human Capital Project Initiative. Human capital is one of two high-level objectives of our plan. In our country partnership program with the World Bank, we have put a lot of emphasis on education, especially primary education. In Eswatini, since 2010, primary education is free. The only thing that is lacking is that it is not compulsory. And I think I can see now that that's a gap lacking. Because it is free, we should make it compulsory, that every child should go to school. But at the moment, it is not. So the enrollment rate at primary school is in excess of 95% because it is free. However, as you advance to the higher level, there's a tendency to drop because people have seen primary education being free. There's a tendency to think that it's probably not an expense that people must face. But we are progressing towards making sure that high school is also made free. The quality of education itself, as I've already said, is a major factor in making sure that what we develop from, what we gain from that education is in fact effective. So what we have done now with we have created tertiary institutions, post-tertiary institutions such as TVETs and other colleges that teach skills-based kind of learning. Because what we see is that when people drop out, maybe after secondary school, they tend not to have the right skills for the job. So we have training that we get from different countries that help us with this, and we teach these skills to the schools so that the children who leave school and are not yet ready for work, they can be trained. Even illiterate people, motor mechanics, electricity, and all sorts of things like that. Sure. So this is what we are trying to motivate and encourage. But we will continue to invest again in even at university level. We are introducing now medicines and other schools like that, and so that people can have practical skills that can help in the future. Our budget is the highest proportion of the budget, if you take in terms of overall expenditure, goes to education and health. Sure. Those are the sectors that take a higher proportion of our budget. Infrastructure, of course, is not neglected, physical infrastructure, but this is the main area of focus. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you. I think the issue around skills is an important one. I can tell you that we have a small newsroom in our team in Johannesburg, and the kids that are coming through from the universities, we struggle to get them to quickly integrate and become active participants in generating news. So there needs to be something done to connect the TVET colleges and the actual work environment. It's a continuing challenge across the continent, there's no doubt about that. But I wanted to ask you to talk to a small little tabunyana subject, since we are touching taboos today. How do we work with culture to ensure that while we're respecting our cultural norms, we are also at the same time ensuring that every child who's entering this new age of technology and other things does so from a position of strength? I ask the question because traditionally our cultures have, as we have all been hearing here, looked down upon the girl child.
Thank you. I think in our environment we are seeing less and less of that discrimination, especially at school-going level. I don't know, I cannot say the same as people progress in life, in parliament, in promotion, but at the level at school, that discrimination is probably not as explicit as it was in the past.
Let me be more explicit, Your Excellency. I was trying to say that are girls exposed to the same skill set opportunities as the boys, i.e., can that girl who dreams of being an aeronautical engineer be able to do so at the same time that a boy child is able to do so? Because we have seen a situation where girls are not getting some of these opportunities.
I suspect they lack role models. It's because she does not have a role model. She has the perception that it is a man's skill, and that is something that needs to be addressed. I think a role model, even in the family, if you are a mechanic or a doctor and the mother is a nurse, the tendency is the boy child will want to be a doctor. So I think this is the attitude that we need to address almost directly. But in terms of financing at school, the opportunities should be the same.
I totally agree with Your Excellency. Thank you. Thank you. So we need to normalize it, that a girl child gets as much chance as the boy child. We need to make it an everyday thing. Thank you for your contribution. Let me move on. We have two excellencies remaining that we need to get to and get their views. May I invite His Excellency Hamza Abdi Bare, Prime Minister, Federal Republic of Somalia. Okay. Before you start, Your Excellency, I wanted to tell you that I personally have adopted Somalia as my country in terms of our coverage, because I know where Somalia is coming from. 1991, I was in Nairobi covering that war. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, brother. Esteemed heads of states and governments, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to be amongst you today here as we discussed a question that is important to our future of our continent. Are we ready to invest in the education and productivity of African youth? The answer I have been contemplating is we have no choice but to be ready. In the case of Somalia, although Somalia has established the right to education for all, millions of Somali children and youth lack of foundational skills in reading. Tackling learning poverty in Somalia is a complex challenge that is made worse by a number of issues. I consider I consider the next 5 obstacles to be the most critical. First, I want to talk about the, some challenges that we are facing. Then, maybe later on, I come to the solutions that we are committed to undertake to fix these problems in our capacity. First obstacle is pervasive conflict, insecurity, and prolonged instability. Somalia has, as you know all, gone through some very challenging times in the past few decades. The ensuing instability has disturbed the functioning of schools and uprooted students and teachers. However, extremist groups such as Shabab significantly contribute to the learning effort in Somalia. They frequently attack schools and education infrastructure. They target educational facilities, teachers, and students as part of their broader campaign to instill fear and exert control over people. Secondly is the limited infrastructure and resources. Infrastructure is insufficient school buildings, limited access to basic facilities such as clean water, and absence of proper transportation for girls and the children in remote areas, and shortages in learning materials are all major bottlenecks. Third is a difficult in attracting and retaining quality teachers. Due to inadequate salaries and limited professional opportunities, teaching has become one of the least favorite professions in Somalia. If someone, for example, has a unique capacity or competent or unique skill, they would prefer to work in the UN or an international organizations where they would be paid 10 times the salary of teachers at the very least. Fourth, limited access to foundational education. Statistics indicate that only half of the children in Somalia are enrolled in primary school. This disparity is even worse in rural areas where only a third of children are enrolled in primary school. Socioeconomic factors such as poverty constitute the biggest factors stopping families from sending their children to school. And fifth, and perhaps the most impactful factor, is climate change. And climate change is the key factor in the disruption of educational infrastructure. It is also the leading cause of forced displacement and immigration, reduced livelihood opportunities, poor health and sanitation, and increased water and food insecurity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency, and for introducing, I think, a subject matter that is all around us, that all of us, wherever we are, which part of the continent we're coming from, is certainly one that we talk about every single day. By the way, the issue around no one wanting to be in teaching isn't unique to you. Across the continent, teaching is no longer the revered profession it used to be, because teachers are not, may I say, well paid. It's not paying anymore. And people who are passionate about teaching have been forced to leave the profession and move on to others. It's something that we should reflect on and find a way of glorifying so we can get our teachers back into the profession. Your Excellency, I wanted to follow up one more question for you, and this is around the challenge of tackling learning poverty. I think we heard the figures, they are terrible figures. We are all to blame on the African continent. I wanted to know what you are doing to tackle that learning poverty.
Thank you very much. As you all may be aware, the government of Somalia has undertaken a comprehensive campaign this past year to eradicate extremist elements across the country to bring the peace first. And you can only imagine the strain these activities would place on our national spending. However, despite the fiscal strains and limited resource, we have demonstrated our commitment to expanding access to education and tackling learning poverty by taking specific policy actions and investing in the solutions to address the bottlenecks and challenges facing the educational ecosystem in Somalia. Firstly, we began by investing in skilled teachers. This past year, we have competitively recruited 3,000 teachers, increasing the number of teachers in the government payroll by more than 300%. Secondly, we aimed to address the challenge of access to quality education by allocating resources to build or rehabilitate schools. Third, we aimed to address socioeconomic disparity by providing school guarantees and ensuring that no child is left behind. The small investment we are making today will allow education to be the catalyst for lasting peace, prosperity, and unity in Somalia. With our collective, as Africans, with our collective efforts, we can foster an enabling environment for Africa's youth to unleash the untapped potential of our rich continent. I would like to conclude and to express Somalia's deep commitment to investing in its people, and I am pleased to announce that Somalia is joining the Human Capital Project Country Network as the 89th member. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you for anticipating my last question as well. You have already declared the commitment. I'm coming back to Your Excellencies to come for my one commitment from you as we close. If I can come to you, Prime Minister Dlamini, your one commitment to us here listening today about what you're doing to advance our goal of ensuring that we realize the demographic dividend. Just one.
I think the main thing that we need to do is to invest, improve the quality rather than the quantity of education. I just mentioned a few things there, laboratories, libraries in the schools, and of course the basics, electricity and what. If we can just invest in those infrastructural things, maybe we can improve the quality and not the quantity of education.
You're committing to improving the quality of education. Thank you, Your Excellency. Madam Talata. Your Excellency, Talata, your one commitment to the summit in terms of what you're going to do to push so that we're able to realize the demographic dividend. It looks like it still works, yes.
Au niveau de notre pays, le Bénin, je l'ai dit tantôt, notre objectif, c'est de nous rendre visibles et d'inverser les tendances. Nos jeunes ont coutume de traverser des pays, de traverser des océans pour aller chercher les meilleures formations, les meilleurs emplois à l'extérieur. Nous voulons que désormais ce mouvement s'inverse, comme le cas observé tout récemment entre l'Espagne et le Maroc. J'ai suivi un documentaire dans lequel il est dit que de plus en plus de jeunes Espagnols traversent la mer pour aller chercher donc de l'emploi au Maroc. Nous voulons faire de notre pays un pôle d'excellence en ce qui concerne la qualité, en créant une cité internationale de l'innovation et du savoir qui offre un cadre d'accueil à des institutions de formation africaines et internationales.
Yeah.
C'est notre objectif.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Thank you. If I can come to you, that's Your Excellency President Bayo, Sierra Leone.
Thank you very much. I think my commitment would be to make sure that the youth are in the front seat of everything that we do about them. I have started, and I will make sure that that is entrenched and becomes the norm.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency. Sorry. Thank you very much for your commitment to the youth. We appreciate it. Your Excellency, President Hassan.
Kwa upande wa Tanzania tuna commit kuendelea kuwekeza kwa watoto na vijana ili kujenga taifa lililo bora, na commitment yetu haitaishia ndani ya taifa lakini hata kwenye program zetu za kikanda, regional programs. Tutahakikisha tunawekeza ili tusome kwa wengine na wengine wa nchi jirani wasome kwetu kwa maendeleo ya bara letu. Asante sana.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Your Excellency. I'd like to apologize to His Excellency.
Can I say the last word?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, the last word is to the fellow African heads of state and government.
Yes.
There was a philosopher who said, if you think education is expensive, try ignorance.
Sure.
So ignorance is what has landed us here.
Yeah.
So let's now invest in education.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you. I would like to acknowledge His Excellency 𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂, Deputy Prime Minister, Federal Republic, Democratic Republic of Ethiopia. First, sorry, sir, for forgetting about you. I was getting so excited with the stories I was hearing. I was coming to the commitments and I wanted to get the commitments so I could have my lunch, but my apologies, sir. Can I invite you to reflect on the summit themes, and then we'll come to the very specific issue we'd like to discuss with you about Ethiopia. I'm hoping it's working.
Yeah.
It's alive. Thank you.
Thank you, Godfrey. First, I would like to express my profound appreciation to the government of the United Republic of Tanzania for hosting this summit successfully. And I also thank the World Bank for organizing this timely summit in collaboration with the government of Tanzania. Perhaps in my country, during the last 2 years, during the challenging times, the World Bank was with us. So you really deserve to be recognized and appreciated on such critical interventions and support. To me, it is high time to invest in people. I really appreciate the motto. It is high time and very timely for us. Human capital development is the entry point to sustain development and to address inclusive agenda as a whole in Africa. As a rising continent, we have to focus and we have to invest on human development areas. Today, Ethiopia, human capital development is our areas of focus agenda, and we try to align this agenda with our 10 years development plan and cascaded to different implementing bodies in this regard. As the few pillar agendas on us. The issue of access. Today we are managing about 30 million students from pre-primary to tertiary education program. 30 million. From this, we're also 5.2 million students are benefiting from school feeding programs, especially in drought-affected areas, in remote and in the pastoralist areas, and in other pocket areas. The school feeding program is really very important issue for kids, especially for girls, for access and even for quality issues. The second one is the quality issue. To ensure the quality issue, we developed a package, a school development program, leadership program, curriculum development, and other necessary inputs around that one. This is really very important for successful learning outcomes and the like. The third one is about inclusive. Education should be inclusive in terms of gender, in terms of area, in terms of special needs and the like. This is very critical and important one, and we're working on that. And the other one is free. Education should be free, especially for primary and secondary schools. In our country, in Ethiopia today, from primary to secondary education, nearly 28 million students. School service is free at all. This is really a very challenging business and responsibility. Education is capital intensive. So to address and to sustain this, education needs a serious commitment and the stakeholders' mobilization around this agenda. The other is affordability. In tertiary education program, nearly 80% of the cost covered by government, around 10% covered by students. That is a reasonable and affordable cost-sharing mechanism at tertiary education level. Generally, when you talk about education, the learning outcome has to be prudent, and that should address the need of the economy, the need of the industry, and the relevance issue is very critical. Based on this, we're trying to assure quality and sustainable relevance programs across the country. My final point on this part is when you talk about human capital development, health, education, water, agriculture, all pro-poor sectors are very important. Our approach in terms of budget and leadership is we're focusing on poverty-oriented sectors. For example, 60% of our budget allocated to pro-poor sectors, to education, to health, to water, agriculture, to ensure nutrition, food security programs, and others. And again, in education, 22% of our annual budget allocated to education, and nearly 14% of our budget allocated to health program. Our plan in the upcoming times, especially by 2030, to increase this 22% to 24%, and now, from our GDP, 4% of our budget goes to education. This is very challenging and needs a serious effort to sustain this commitment. Generally, we're here, but with a serious challenge and serious crisis, and to sustain that and to keep the momentum, human development issue is a survival and existential issue to Africa and to my country, Ethiopia.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. I hear the clear political commitment to ensuring that education is prioritized. But how are you doing it in this environment? Whereas we have been talking about everywhere, fiscal space is limited because the priorities that are competing for the money that you have are so many. How does education survive in that environment and get more so we do more?
Thank you. As I said it before, it is capital intensive and very challenging. But all education actors has to march together towards this agenda. Development partners, government, the community at the grassroots levels, private sectors, and other players together. Here, partners, development partners also. And then, here government, the political leaders has to play. As His Excellency the President said it in the previous panel, we have to play as a role model, the leaders, and again, mobilize the community and other partners. And then, we're trying to expand our revenue capacity to increase and to address towards these priority areas. But the major players here, the communities. The schools has to be owned as the grassroots level by the local community, the parents and other players together. All these efforts will reach to this trajectory to address this problem.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Would you have one final commitment for us? Yes? One final commitment that you commit to achieving?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Really, the issue of deliverables is very critical. Here, my commitment, number one, political commitment. Leaders has to be committed. We are committed for this. Second, allocating the proper resource and mobilizing all actors. And this program has to be owned by the communities and creating conducive environment to development partners and other actors. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your patience. And thank you, Your Excellencies, for your patience, for your time, for your insights. Thank you again. And we resume the program. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Excellencies, a bigger round of applause to our distinguished presidents. Can we stand up as they take their seats? And let's continue to clap their hands. Kindly be seated. Thank you very much. So we are now going, before we break for lunch, we are going to have photos taken. This is a very high-level event to miss a photo moment. So I am going to announce the groups as follows. The first picture will be taken by the presidents. The 7 presidents who are present here will take the first picture. The second picture will be taken led by the president of Zanzibar and the vice presidents, deputy prime ministers, the prime ministers that are present here will take the second picture. This will also include the Minister of Finance, who is also representing the President of the Union of Comoros and the chairs of the AU, the World Bank, Madam Victoria Kwaka and Madam Mamta Murthy will also be on this picture, as well as Mama Graca Machel, who is the Deputy Chair of the Elders. Thank you. Heads of delegation that are present here will take the third picture, to be followed by international and regional cooperation bodies representatives who are here. Honorable ministers will take the 5th picture, and the final picture will be for the Secretariat. May I now have the honor to invite back to the stage Her Excellency Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania. May I also kindly, you'll use these stairs to come up and those stairs to go down. May I also invite His Excellency Filipe Jacinto Nyusi, President, Republic of Mozambique. May I invite His Excellency Andy Rajoelina, President, Republic of Madagascar. May I invite Dr. Lazarus Makanthi, His Excellency, the President, Republic of Malawi. May I also invite His Excellency Carlos Manuel Villanova, President, Democratic, but not least, Dr. Julius Maada Bio, President, Republic of Sierra Leone. May I kindly, Your Excellencies, request you to please stand up? Thank you. The next pictures, you will all be seated. And if you can come together, yes, like that. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Kindly, you may sit now. As I invite to the stage His Excellency Dr. Hussein Ali Mwinyi. Kindly come to the stage. Your Excellency, please remain on the stage. Yes. 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 To be followed by His Excellency Hussein Albigabi Akoy Agani, Vice President, Republic of South Sudan. Welcome to the stage. May I also invite Her Excellency Mariam Chabi Talata, Vice President, Republic of Benin, to kindly come to the stage. May I also invite Your Excellency Jessica Rose Epel Alupo, Vice President, Republic of Uganda. Thank you so much. May I invite to the stage. May I invite to the stage Your Excellency Mutale Nalumango, Vice President, Republic of Zambia. Thank you very much. May I invite to the stage Cleopas Dlamini, Prime Minister, Kingdom of Eswatini. Thank you very much. May I invite to the stage Hamza Abdi Bare, Prime Minister, Federal Republic of Somalia. Welcome to the stage. May I invite to the stage Your Excellency Gervais Ndirakobuka, Prime Minister, Republic of Burundi. Please welcome to the stage. May I invite to the stage His Excellency, Your Excellency 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕, Deputy Prime Minister, the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia. Thank you for coming. May I invite to the stage Your Excellency Olavo Avelino Garcia Correira, Deputy Prime Minister, Republic of Cape Verde. May I also invite to the stage Your Excellency Abdurrahman Abdulrazak, Chair, Nigeria Governors Forum. Thank you. May I also invite to the stage Honorable Mohamed Chanfiu, Minister of Finance, representing the President of the Union of Comoros. Thank you so much, who is also the Chair of the AU. Madam Victoria from the World Bank, as well as Dr. Mamta Murthy from the World Bank. Thank you so much. Mama Graka Machel, we are honored to also have you on this picture. May I request heads of delegation to be set for the next picture after this picture. Karibu Mama. Asante sana, please use the stairs on your right hand. The presidents, please remain seated. The members at the back, kindly use the stairs on the right hand to exit the stage. As I invite through your right hand, the heads of delegation, kindly you will stand behind the presidents. Algeria, Angola, Botswana, Comoros, Djibouti, DR Congo, Egypt, Gabon, Ghana, Ivory Coast, Libya, Namibia, Nigeria, Rwanda, Seychelles, South Africa, Togo, Tunisia, and Zimbabwe. As the heads of delegation come to the stage, Liberia. As the heads of delegation mount the stage, may I request the international and regional cooperation to please be prepared to be followed by all the ministers present here. Thank you very much. Let's exit the stage as I invite all those representing regional and international organizations present to please come to the stage. The next picture will be for all the ministers present. But for now, international and regional bodies that are present here. Secretariat will take the final picture, which will be after the ministers. So for now, regional and international cooperation bodies that are represented. Karibu. May I also request Excellencies, Ambassadors and High Commissioners present to please join on this picture. Excellency Ambassadors and High Commissioners present to kindly join on this picture. The next picture will be of all the ministers present, and the final picture will be Secretariat. Can we give a room for the Ambassadors and High Commissioners to kindly pass? Thank you. Excellencies, Ambassadors and High Commissioners, kindly for the next pictures. Honorable Ministers, you will take the next picture. As they come, I would like